Isabella Delacroix stood in front of the mirror in her bridal suite, adjusting the delicate lace of her veil. The grand Delacroix mansion was bustling with activity, filled with guests, flowers, and the soft strains of classical music. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, the day she married the man she had been betrothed to since childhood, Alexander Montgomery. But as the minutes ticked by, an uneasy feeling settled in her stomach. The wedding was supposed to start an hour ago, and there was no sign of Alexander. The whispers among the guests had grown louder, and Isabella's father, the formidable Victor Delacroix, was pacing the hallways, his face a mask of anger and concern. Suddenly, the door burst open and her best friend, Ethan Hart, rushed in. Ethan had been her confidant and rock throughout her life, always by her side in moments of joy and sorrow. "Isa, we need to talk," Ethan said, his voice urgent but gentle. Isabella turned to him, her eyes wide with worry. "Ethan, what's going on? Where is Alexander?" Ethan took a deep breath, his expression pained. "He's gone, Isa. He left a note saying he couldn't go through with it." The words hit her like a punch to the gut. She felt her legs buckle, and Ethan was there to catch her before she fell. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she blinked them away, refusing to let the sorrow and embarrassment consume her. "How could he do this?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Ethan held her close, his heart aching for her. "I don't know, but we don't have time to dwell on that right now. The guests are waiting, and your father is about to lose it. We need to make a decision." Isabella pulled back slightly, looking up at him. "What decision?" "The wedding is ruined. My life is ruined." Ethan shook his head, his eyes intense and determined. "It doesn't have to be. We can salvage this, Isa. Marry me instead." Her eyes widened in shock. "What? Ethan, you can't be serious. This is crazy." "Maybe it is, but I've always been serious about you. I've loved you for as long as I can remember. And right now, I can't stand the thought of you going through this alone. Let me be there for you, in every way." Isabella's mind raced. This was not how she had envisioned her wedding day, but as she looked into Ethan's eyes, she saw the sincerity and love that had always been there. Her heart, bruised and battered, found a glimmer of hope. "Are you sure?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "More than anything," he replied, his grip on her hands tightening. With a deep breath, Isabella nodded. "Okay. Let's do it." The ceremony was a blur. Before she knew it, Isabella found herself at the altar, her hand in Ethan's, as they exchanged vows. The guests, initially shocked, soon warmed to the idea, recognizing the bond that had always existed between the two friends. Ethan's steady presence gave Isabella the strength to move forward, and as they kissed to seal their vows, she felt a sense of rightness and relief. The next morning, Isabella and Ethan boarded a private jet, ready to embark on their honeymoon. The island resort was breathtaking, a perfect escape from the chaos they had left behind. As they settled into their suite, Isabella couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and nervousness about the future. Ethan took her hand, his eyes full of warmth. "We'll take it one day at a time, Isa. No rush." She smiled, grateful for his understanding. "Thank you, Ethan. For everything." As they explored the island and enjoyed their time together, Isabella found herself falling more deeply in love with Ethan. His kindness, patience, and unwavering support were exactly what she needed to heal. But their blissful escape was soon interrupted. On the third day of their honeymoon, Isabella received a call from her father. "Isa, we need to talk." Victor's voice was tense. "It's about Alexander." Her heart sank. "What about him?" "He's back, and he's causing trouble. He claims he never intended to leave you and that he was expecting you to come to him, begging. He's demanding money, saying he's in serious trouble." Isabella's blood ran cold. "What kind of trouble?" "Gambling debts. Huge ones. His family tried to keep it quiet, but it's all coming out now. He's desperate. He's desperate." Isabella felt a surge of anger and betrayal. He thought he could manipulate me, use my love to get money for his debts. How could I have been so blind? Ethan, overhearing the conversation, squeezed her hand. You're not alone in this, Isa. We'll handle it together. With Ethan by her side, Isabella felt a renewed sense of strength. They cut their honeymoon short and returned home, ready to confront Alexander and the problems he brought with him. As they arrived at her father's mansion, they were greeted by a storm of tension. Victor Delacroix stood in the grand foyer, his face stern. And there, sitting casually on an ornate chair, was Alexander Montgomery. Alexander stood as they entered, a smug smile on his face. Isabella, you're back. I knew you'd come to your senses. Isabella's eyes narrowed. What do you want, Alexander? He stepped forward, a rehearsed charm in his demeanor. This marriage is a mistake, Isa. We can get it annulled. You know we belong together. Marry me, and we can put all of this behind us. Ethan's hand tightened around hers, his jaw set. She's already married, Alexander. It's time you accept that. Alexander ignored Ethan, focusing solely on Isabella. I know you were upset, and I don't blame you for acting out. But let's be realistic. We can fix this. I just need a bit of help to get back on my feet. A loan, to settle some financial issues. Isabella's anger flared. This was all about money, wasn't it? You left me at the altar because you wanted me to beg, to offer you more money. Alexander's facade cracked, desperation seeping through. I had no choice. The debts, they're dangerous people. I need you, Isabella. Ethan stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. You heard her, Alexander. Leave, before we call security. Alexander's eyes darted between Isabella and Ethan, realizing his manipulation had failed. You'll regret this, Isa. You'll see. As Alexander stormed out, Isabella turned to her father. Dad, I don't want him in our home anymore. I've made my choice. I want to build my life with Ethan, my best friend who has never let me down. Victor's stern expression softened. Of course, Isa. Your decision is final, and I support you. Alexander won't set foot in this house again. Isabella turned to Ethan, her eyes filled with gratitude and love. I've always loved you as my best friend, Ethan. Now I can love you as my husband. Ethan pulled her into an embrace. And I'll always be here for you, Isa. In every way. And with that, Isabella knew she had made the right choice. True love wasn't about manipulation or wealth. It was about trust, support, and standing by each other through the darkest times. And with Ethan, she had found exactly that.